the reason why we are here today. It's because we're gonna listen to a presentation that will be done by Julian Gomez, and he's from Spain. And in Spain, you say hola, hey, hello, is that. And Julian will do some presentation around some secrets about the IFPUG function points method. So we'll talk a little bit about the product focus and what you can, what benefits you have by using an international community, and how to improve the communication between business and IT, and what kind of indicators that you will need, and standardization also of methods, so you can do really good comparisons. And then at the end, they will talk about what kind of certifications are there in this area. And Julian, oh no, Julian is management, he's brand manager in Leda Management Consulting, and he's been in this area for software development and maintenance for over 20 years. And he's been working with clients in a lot of different countries around the world, both in South America and Europe, for example. And in those areas and those continents, he also done a lot of presentations. So he's used to meet an international audience. And by that, I'm very glad to welcome Julian. And I will stop sharing here so he can start sharing his presentation.
Gracias, Pierre. Thanks, Pierre. Okay. Pierre, please, could you confirm that can see my screen, please?
Yeah, I can see your screen clearly, so everyone should be able to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. But today, we are not going to talk about any topics about metrics. We are only an alibi to talk about Harry Potter and his world, okay? And if you like it, that the literature books, or you like the movies, that is the time to take maybe if you are in Italy, is after your meal, and in Spain is before our meal, and take the time, and we are to enjoy the moment, okay? Because we are going to talk about the 7 secrets of IFPUG function points by the hand of Harry Potter. First of all, one question is I want to give the thank you to ISVSG because they give us the opportunity with the invitation to the webinar to talk about that. And I think it's a very interesting point because it's a point that is aligned for ISVSG, LEDA, and other companies, that the mission that the ISVSG is intended is to help IT organization improve the planning and management of their software projects. And that I think that is very interesting thing to keep always in mind, because all our efforts are pointed to that point, okay? By the way, here is a short presentation of myself, okay? In order you can see me in the camera, but here is our picture. I am the current brand manager for LEDA, that is a Spanish company that we have customers worldwide, but in the short, I will show you what is the things that we do in LEDA. I have a lot of experience in all the software, IT software projects and the development, okay? In different versions, from developments to the management, productivity office, quality assurance, etc. Okay, and I like to go to conference and to share my knowledge and the knowledge to other people. For that, I have the time or the opportunity to talk in any audience. I go to that audience. Okay, I have the for good luck. I go to talk in Latin America, in Spain, in Romania and Italy, and it's a very good thing to go to see other professionals in the same way of us and to talk with that professionals. What is LEDA? Like Pierre said, we are management consulting and we are focused in a lot of things, but now I want only to, not to be an advert, but only to you know better what we do, okay? Overall, because it's important to understand that the knowledge that we are going to show you here is not a knowledge that we read in the book and we only take because we read in the book. No, the knowledge is because our first value in LEDA is our experience, and our experience is very wide in all the questions related to software development projects. And for that, it's important that our 7 secrets that our friend of mine, Harry Potter, give is based too in our experience, because we have efficiency and quality office related to group to have a better productivity or to help to the teams or providers to help to have a better productivity and to improve his quality. We have too the efficiency and quality benchmarking, because we have a database similar to BSVSG. We have, at the moment, I'm talking from my memory, but we have 65,000 projects in our database, in just another source that you can check the value of the market. We have a model to agile diagnosis. Then in the digital transformation, we help the companies to understand if his model is the correct or not, or is giving the value they want to achieve with the transformation. And we help the companies to check that and to go to the correct way to complete the roadmap they wrote for himself. And we, for sure, the agile digital transformation in the same way. We have the quality governance, because quality always is a point or a topic that the people don't pay attention, but is one of the main points to go to the cost of a project. And we are giving the opportunity to govern the quality. That is very important. And the last but not less important is the diagnosis of development process, because independent of the way you do the things, always you need to put attention on the way you do the things and to know if you are improving or not. And that is a very important thing. That is more or less in the services, but the other part that is very important for LEDA is the innovation. For that, we create a set of tools that are very important. The first of one, I talk about the benchmarking database with the 65,000 projects that we have. That's your data set of reference. We have a productivity and quality executive dashboard that is a very powerful tools to exploit the information that we have in the database. And we have 2 solutions that for us, we are very, very, very happy to share with other people, because are the most innovative part in that way, okay, related to the estimation. What is, and for me, and let me the little joke, but for me, it's the revolution of the estimation that is Nuestro Application Quanter, because change the way we are doing the estimation the last 30 years, giving the estimation application to the same way that Spotify, Globo, etc. Okay, and I think it's a very, very great improvement that we do. And the other are the LEDA e-solutions, okay? That is the possibility to take our products or services on demand in the web without any other person here, okay? I stop to talk about LEDA and we start to talk about magic. Take only several seconds to see that picture. That picture is more or less for all the people, when we talk about the magic, the people seeing in fairies, in dreaming castles, a lot of sparkling lights, a lot of several dreaming, okay? But if we talk about the magic and IT projects, the people maybe have a different idea, a different near that one. It's more the people that is trying to trick you, the people that is to cheat you, all the tricksters, the people that say one thing, but then give you another thing. And that is a very important thing, that we can separate the real magic for the not so real magic. And for that today, I ask for the help to a friend of mine. That friend of mine is Harry Potter, for sure. You know, because it's from the title of that presentation, okay? But Harry Potter, if you don't know from the movies and from the books, give us 7 little secrets, but 7 little secrets that maybe you can see are very clear, but not always, in our experience from LEDA, in all the companies that we are helping around the world, is not always doing that, okay? And let me show you that 7 little secrets. The first one is avoid the magic methods. Here, maybe in our normal life, a part of the IT projects, several persons found some issue in a problem. They don't have the love they want, or they lose her jobs, and they ask anybody, a magician, a witcher, a witch, and said, "Oh, I want the solution for my problem." And the magician said, "Okay, you have to take the potion, the magic potion." Okay, and we ask for sure, okay, in why is working the magic potion? Why? And the magician, the wizard, the witch said, "Because it's magic." And I say, okay, but we don't believe in magic. We believe in science, and science needs studies. And we believe in vaccines because vaccines are based on studies. And we believe in that is the good way to do the things because it's scientifics are behind that value. We don't create the magic. And it's very surprising the high amount of us that see clearly that, but when we go to the IT projects and we ask to the provider, to the supplier for our estimation, they say, okay, that cost you 100 euros. And when we say, okay, what is the methodology you use to calculate that? What is the base? What are the foundations to that value? They say, it's magic. Okay, for sure. Don't use the word magic. They use the word is based on experience, or believe me, I am don't lying you. But that is not enough. And we have to avoid the king of magic methods. And we have to say, no, we don't believe in magic methodologies. We believe in science. And for that, a colleague of mine, Harry Potter, said, okay, you have to use IFPUG function points, a measurement methodology based on a scientific method. And why Harry Potter is recommending the function points? Is recommending for a lot of things, but I want to focus only in 3. The first one is like IFPUG function point is an ISO standard. That is the difference between a magic method and a real method, a scientific method. ISO standard need a revision in between peers, and is checked by different persons with different profiles and different skills. And that assures you that is a good method. That is a very interesting point. The second one is that is the standard de facto of the industry. What does it mean? And we can see in another different secrets, then you can go to different countries and different companies, and you found information related to function points. And that gives you the opportunity to compare, because always we need to compare with others that do the things in the same way we have done, because that gives us more information and more possibilities to change, and more important too, to improve. And the third one, that is focuses to the product. Now is the age of the product, because product is king. When we measure the value that we are giving to the customers, we are paying attention to the product, and function point give us the value of product that we are giving to our customers. That is a very important thing. We are the age of apps, we are the age of the product, and a measure of the product is the create the definitive difference between success or not. Okay, the second secret of our friend Harry Potter is all houses play the Quidditch. If for several of you that doesn't know what is the Quidditch is a play that they they need to catch a ball in order to score. And the two teams that are competing, that are fighting for that game, who scored the more points is the winner. But all the houses, depending on the country they live in the universe of Harry Potter, play in the Quidditch. And that is because that is good and that works. It's the same way the IFPUG function points are a measure that is used for a lot of other companies and governments in the world. Let me show you only few examples about that. For example, if we put attention on the European Union, we found that the European Commission is recommending the use of function points in his tenders. Here you have three examples that we found in the European Union. The European Medicine Agency, the Taxation and Customs Union, and EULISA project. That are real tenders that were launched to the market. I remember, but last year or maybe 2018, and in all that tender, in difference in each one is the function point that used in a different way, but is used for three main things. The first one is to calculate the value of the project, to make the calculation, the estimation of the project for. The second one is to select the best provider, the best supplier, to make the project, to do the development project. And the third one is to calculate the indicators, the KPI, about the quality, because it's measured by defect by function points. That gives you the importance of that methodology, that the important and the practical way to use that methodology that is taken into account in the European Commission. But if we go beyond and we go to the world, we can find that in Brazil, the government are including the function points in order to make the estimation of the projects. In Mexico, function points are used in order to make the estimation of the projects. In Italy, the government is made to make estimation. In France, the Ministry of Agriculture is making estimation using function points, and in Japan and Korea and several more countries around the world. And each day are counting more and more governments in that part. In our own experience for LEDA, we are, like I say you, in the first time, we are a Spanish company, but focused in international customers. But if we paid attention on the customer that we have in Spain, only in Spain, we found that value. Overall, in the government in Spain, in general, is not, you don't have to do, or you don't have to use, but 10 of the best companies in Spain, if you go to the IBEX 35, the stock index that have the 35 best companies in Spain, 10 of that 35 are using function points, and 2 public entities are using function points. For that, could give you a very good overall view that is a very good measure with practical use in all the companies and all the countries. And it's useful because that works. And here, I don't want to give you more theory about that. Only let me to give you one little data. In the last 3 years, from 2017 to 2020, for our customers, from LEDA, we help to our customers to save 40 million euros. That is a very big value to give our customers. I give you all the work you can do, all the benefits you can achieve with that methodology using in your day by day. Remember, 40 million euros in 3 years is a very, very good value, okay? Okay, start here and we continue with our secrets. The third one is to avoid the parcel tongue. If you don't know about the Harry Potter, I make a little introduction about the parcel tongue. Parcel tongue is the language to speak the snakes. in that universe of Harry Potter, Snape can speak with the persons, with the people, but only with the people that have that knowledge about the language, that is the parcel tongue. And that is very similar to what we found in IT development projects. Here we can find at the left the business people that is talking with IT, design, management, and the people tend to use a very complex language, technical language about microservices, binding language, source code, etc. But that is very difficult in order to understand what we need or what we are talking about from business perspective. Remember that product is king. And if we don't talk about my product, for me, it's not interesting. I need to focus in my product. I need to focus over my business. And that is the very important point that we have to pay attention, because if the people is trying to talk about technology, technical ways, for me, for the business, that is very difficult to understand. It's like the parcel tongue of Harry Potter, and I can work with that. For that, following the guidance of Harry Potter, we have to talk about some related metric about the product. You remember one metric that we talk about related to the product? Yes, for sure. IFPUG function points. We are talking about the function points, and we are talking a measurement of the product, directly of the product, of the value that we are going to put on production by our user. And the user, because we are talking about the product, is allowed to say what he needs or what doesn't need, okay? And could discuss with technical people what is the things to include or not, okay? That is a very, very important thing. The fourth secret is Voldemort is not the most evil. As you remember, in Harry Potter, always the people is trying to don't say in front of other persons the word Voldemort, because the pronunciation of the name of the most evil in the universe of Harry Potter is like a spell. You are calling the Voldemort, and it's appearing in your face in front of you and is giving you to the death. And this old people is trying to say, don't say, he's the very bad guy. He's the most evil person, but don't say the name. And that is very similar that we found in IT projects, because if I say you what is the most evil part of the estimation, maybe the majority of you, the others that know the reality not, but the majority of you maybe are saying, okay, are the rates are the bad. A high rate is very bad. But that is not always true. We have to be a more open mind. And let me show you, in the hand of Harry Potter, what is the little difference. For example, we have two different rates. And for sure we say, okay, I will take the cheaper one because 10 is better than 100. Okay. But normally when we are thinking on the rate, we don't think on the effort needed. And normally when a rate is very few, the effort related is very high. And that will give us that the cost, remember always, the cost is rate by effort. And that is the meaning that you have to keep in mind. And in that point, maybe the second rate is putting less effort and the overall cost is less than you expect. But what's the point? That is, we are talking about the effort himself, is not a good way to ask from the business point of view to rebate, to say to the provider that is not a good value. Why? Could say the provider. If you remember, it's a magic method. No, that is, believe me, in my experience, that is the effort needed to make that. But we don't have any argument to do, any powerful sentence to say, no, that is not possible. But if we go by the hand of Harry Potter, we don't have to talk about the rate by a 4. We have to talk about the unitary price of unit of product. And remember, unit of product is function point. And now we have 2 different unitary price for product. 10 euros for function points and 100 euros for function points. And when we go to the next step, now we understand what we are putting here, because 1000 function points is the quantity of my product. And the quantity, in a way, describe it in a way that I could review, and I could say that it's okay, that is not okay. And I can check what is the correct and where is a mistake. Keep that in mind. And from that, for sure, I could have the real cost that I need for my project. That is a very important thing. For that, you have to use the function points in order to calculate the final cost of your project and know the rates related to the effort. It's very important to keep in mind. But like I am reading your mind and you're thinking, okay, but this a good example, is theory, but it's not real data. Okay, don't worry. Let me only few seconds to show you a example. Here is a graphic that we take from our database. Remember, our database have 65,000 development projects, IT development projects. And we take that projects, and each column are pairs, okay? Some different pairs of customer supplier. In other words, for one customer, we take one supplier, and we calculate 2 values. The light column, you can see the rate per hour of effort, okay? In other words, how many cost 1 hour, okay? And the dark one, that is the other, is the price of one function point. And then we sort the graphic, the high rate per effort in the left, and the lower rate by effort in the right. And you can see that it's sorted in that way. In that point, you can see that here in the left, you have a supplier with a very high rate by hour. And in the right, you have a supplier with a few rate, or the little rates by hour, okay? But remember that you are not building an application by hours of effort. You are building an application by units of product. In other words, when you create a screen, you are using 3 function points, not 3 hours. That is the point, okay? If we switch to the other way, you can see now that the first column, the rate is very high, but the value for function point, the cost for function point, is very few. That provider is not so bad. In other words, it's very good, because for me, the important is the cost by the unit of product, and that supplier is very good. In the other hand, if we go to the right, we are observing that when we go down the rates by hour of effort, the supplier are increasing the number of hours of effort they need to create the software. And that is a very interesting point. And that, remember, when we are going down the rates, the supplier are increasing the number of hours. But if we switch to a measure of product, like function points, that is not possible, because we can count the number of function points that our product. The 5th secret: eating as much as Hagrid. Is it too much or is too little? But it depends, and that we have to keep in mind. Here is Hagrid. You know the Harry Potter saga. Is a giant, and like his the high dimension that have, he needs a lot of food to complete his normal life. For example, 6 chickens. For me, is a lot of meal. Maybe for you not, but for me, yes. But maybe if we are comparing for Harry Potter, 6 chicken is too a lot of meal. But for Harry Potter, 1 is enough. No, like for us, is enough. But in that point, 6 is a lot or not? And the way is depending. Or in other words, we have to keep an eye in the overall picture, not only the picture about the quantity of meal. We have to keep an eye about the quantity of meal and the dimension of the person that is going to eat that meal. In other words, let me show you another example from our database, okay? If we are always putting attention on the efficiency, okay, or in other words, the number of effort needed for one function point, here higher is bad, lower is good. The supplier 4 need a lot of effort to create one function point. And here is the comparing view of how many effort needs each supplier to create one function point. But that don't give us the real picture. We need to add another component. And let me show you, don't try to guess, maybe you could guess, but don't try to guess. We are putting here together the quality. The quality measured by number of defects by function points. Here, function point giving us the opportunity to compare different suppliers with the same units. One, the efficiency, effort needed to create one function point, and the other is the quality, number of defects by function point. And here is an interesting result that we have a supplier 4 are spending more time creating the functionality, the product, but at the same time give you less defects. And that is very interesting. But please stop one moment. We are going to add another more component, the real cost, keeping in mind the cost not only to develop, but to maintain the application. And here we are combining development cost and quality assurance for the projects, okay? And here is very, very interesting value. And that is extracted from our experience, okay? It's real experience with our customers. Here, the supplier 4, when you go focus only to the productivity, seems to be very bad, but at the end is one of the best supplier, because the cost is the second cheaper supplier, and the quality is very, very good. And in the other hand, the supplier 5 then seems to be very efficiency, it construct the software very, very, very quickly, but in the other part is have a lot of problems of quality, a lot of, quality issues that they have to correct in the lifetime of the application, and the cost of the application go up. For that, like Hagrid, we have to keep in mind the full picture. We are not to focus only in efficiency. We have to keep in mind efficiency and quality, and then the cost. And that 3 components give us a good picture about that. That I showed you a little bit soon before. That is an example of a scorecard that we show or we create for one of our customers that want to give that representation deeper in the management of his provider. And you can see here that it's very simple, because we think that going simple gives you the opportunity to take the best decision and don't pay attention to the trees and not to the forest. For that is important, or always is a maximum that we have in LEDA, to contain always our reports and applications, like I said on Quanter, very simple, not so simple, but very simple, that the user experience gives you the opportunity to take out the advantage of that information. For that, here you can see in each column the cost, efficiency, quality, and time. Time in terms of time to market, okay? And that gives you, for each supplier, an overall view of all the development inside your system. How many costs, how many product is giving you each time, quality, number of defects that are giving you, and the time to market. With that, we create a sort of traffic light that could be easy to understand who is doing it excellent, who is doing only okay, who is doing not okay, and who is unacceptable, in order to pay attention always in the things that are more important. The 6, we are finishing. The 6 is to ask Ollivander how much a wand cost. When you go to the universe of Harry Potter, the students of magic go to the Ollivander shops in order to say, okay, Ollivander, I need the best wand for me. What is the best wand for me? Ollivander is an expert and said, okay, the best wand for you is that one. Why? Why? Because that, and that. And Ollivander gives the reasons why that is the best one for the person. In IT, we need some similar. We need to say, okay, my efficiency, my quality rate is great or not? Is good or not? Because if we are only paying attention on myself, I don't know if we are doing best or not. If I'm going to run the 100 meters and I take 5 minutes, if the last year I do in 20 minutes, for me it's very good. And when we saw the result of Usain Bolt, that is not very good, okay? And we have to do that. How we can do it? We can do it in 2 steps. The first one, to use function points. Function points is the normalizing factor that gives us the opportunity to compare with others. It's a unit of measure. And that gives you, like it's absolute measure, gives you the opportunity to check with all the rest of the person. And the second one is to go to, for example, ISBSG, at the database to check, or for example, the database that we have in LEDA, to check with our resources, and you can compare with the market. That gives you a real picture of how you are doing. Maybe in the first time you don't want to check with the market, but when you are continuing improving, you need the overview of how are doing the rest of the people. And they give you the opportunity to learn several new things to do in your business. Here, for example, is a dashboard that we prepared that is the position. For example, a customer asks us in order to check if the agile transformation they are doing in his company are going well or not. Here we show, you can see here the waterfall projects are the legacy projects that are continuing doing the things in waterfall way to do the things, the waterfall life cycle. Agile are the new agile projects, and you can see here what is the positioning of that agile projects to compare. And here you can see another 2 signs, okay? The first one is the world is the market, how is doing the market in the same condition that the projects of waterfall and agile, and you can see how you are with respect to the market. And the other is the goal you are proposed to your teams, to your provider, to your supplier to accomplish in that point, okay? That gives you a very, very good view, very simple, remember, simple, very simple user experience, and gives you the possibility to take the best decision inside your company in order to how to manage your projects. Another example, other variations from the previous. The first one is focusing on supplier. We are focusing only on different suppliers inside a customers, and we are comparing efficiency and quality. Remember, because we never have to take only one component. We need to have the 2, because one supplier could be very efficient, but with very bad quality. For that, we have to keep in mind the two things, the two components, okay? And the dimension of the balls gives you the idea of the number of hours of development that they have. And the goal is always put in the graphic, okay, in order to give you a best perspective. And the second one in the bottom of the slide is focusing on team, because maybe when you are in an agile way to do the things, maybe you want to help the teams to develop all her potential. For that is important to give the overall picture of all the teams, because that gives you the opportunity to select what are the teams that need to improve and what are the teams that are doing the best, okay? That is very interesting, and our customers are very happy to have that information and that scorecards in order to take the decision, like I said you in the precedent way. And the last one, you want real magic. Yeah, learn how to use the one. For me, in my personal opinion, and in the rest of the parents, colleagues from LEDA, we are talking a lot of time about that. One of the most important things is to have enrolled in that points with people that are certified function points. LEDA not only believe in that question, that we are doing that. We don't only believe that we live it, okay? We live it because LEDA is the Spanish company, or the Hispanic company that have more certified people in the world, and maybe is between the Hispanic or non-Hispanic, one of the companies that have more function point certificates in the world. For that is important, because to talk things so interesting and so important that the things that we are just talk in the presentations need to be done in a good way, in the best way to be done, okay? And sometimes we go to some customers, to some suppliers, and the people doesn't understand well the method and don't apply in a good way the methodology. And that is very bad, because the results you are taking is not good. For that, for us, it's very important that the people that is enrolled in the estimation have to be certified, and you can go to us for help people, companies that we are certifying function point, because the help that we are going to give you is the best help you can have. And we can support you in the needs, and we can say, okay, you need to go for that point, for that way, or you need to go for that other way. For that is very important, the program to the certification. And for sure, in the last years, the effort in IFPUG to make the exam not to be taken by presentially, to take the exam online is very good, because you can take the exam in your own home, okay? And that is very good, very good. Only rest to thank you for your attention. Thank you for stay here today, and only give me a little thing, okay? All the webinars that we do in LEDA have lifetime warranty. What does it mean, lifetime warranty? That if you want to ask me any question, you can do now when Pierre said, and it's no problem. But maybe tomorrow you say, okay, I have now a question to ask Julian. I'm sorry, but I can do it. Yes, you can do. You only have to write my email, and tomorrow you send me the question that you want, okay? But 1 month ago, you say, now I have a problem. I want to ask Julian who is possible to do that, or give me some support about that. Don't worry. I say you lifetime warranty. 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, maybe if I am still alive, I expect that. But I ask you any question, okay? For sure. Please feel free to write my email and send any question that you want to ask me. For me, it will be a pleasure, and all my colleagues on LEDA, we are pleasure to ask any question related to that points that we like a lot. We love to talk about that. Thank you very much, and I left to Pierre to show his presentation.
Yeah, first we will take, thank you very much, Julian. Gracias, muchas gracias. It was very interesting, and like myself, I rely more on facts than magic. I'm a fact-based guy. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we have one question coming that came here from Stavros, and he wondered, how is your experience concerning story points? Do your client think this is science, or do they believe or recognize it as magic?
Okay, it's a very, very interesting question. And let me show you that 1 month ago, if you don't remember that, no, in February, we have a webinar with all our customers that to give the opportunity to talk each other, okay? And one of the questions that we put in the table to talk about it was the story points, okay? And the persons, we have several of our customers are doing in Agile, okay? But we have 2 special customers that is very, very mature in the way of Agile. And they say the same. For me, story points is not useful. For me, it's not useful because we take the indicators, we help to that customer to aggregate all the indicators, and they don't provide any value aggregated to me. The teams said that they want to use. For me, when we're not interfering my government about the Agile process, it's no problem, but for me, it's not useful. But that customer said, for me, a chart is a bad measurement because it's relative, depending on the team that making the estimation, and you can't compare to others. It's only for that team, and give you a don't give you don't give you the opportunity to say, okay, how much work you have here, no? And the other thing, sorry, because I taking from my mind, the other thing is that the several teams are using the story points like a 4. And for that, he said, okay, but if you are using for a 4, for me it's better the 4 because I managed a 4 long time ago, okay? And that, Stavros, and the question for our customer is, that is not very useful, the story points, okay?
Okay, I don't see any more questions here now. Anyone who want to come up with a question? Just put them in the chat, or just put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and talk directly.
Don't be shy, it's your time. Maybe tomorrow could be only the email, okay?
Yeah, so if you're shy, you can send the question after this session, either to me or directly to Julian, and he will answer. Or if you're sending it to me, I will forward it to Julian. And it was a very interesting presentation, and it's always interesting to see when using something to relate to. So you're not only talking about facts, you try to find the way how to explain the facts and the usefulness of having the facts when you're perhaps a project manager, or you're another kind of manager, and you have to estimate things or prioritize which project should I take first, or if I'm doing will do a outsourcing, is the price okay when the supplier comes with a negotiation and say, I want this for this project, etc. So I recommend using of function points. I've certified. I was one of the first in Europe. I think I was the second in Europe to be certified, 1994. So I've been certified for a couple of years.
Yes, a couple of years.
Yeah, and as you see, yeah, I have too much gray hair here, so comparing to you, Julian. But it's also very interesting to see that we have had a lot of attendees from different parts of the world. We have had attendees from Mexico and USA in the West, a lot of people coming here from Europe, myself, I'm sitting up in Sweden, outside Stockholm, and we have people from in the eastern side from India and from Australia, Paula from Australia. So,
Pierre,
yeah.
I think Thomas has got a question. Do you want to have a look at that?
Go ahead, Paula.
Thomas Fellman's got a question, and
Yes.
you're going to have to tell me what this means, Thomas.
If you want, I can answer. And
Okay.
the question from Thomas is, without the story points, how do you manage for an NFR in sprints? For sure, story points don't help you a lot about the FUR and the NFR. In the experience that we have, we are using, you can use two different approximations, okay? One is to use function points and snap points. Snap is the software non-functional assessment process. That is the methodology developed by IFPUG to make the estimation of the non-functional requirements, okay? And our customers, they are using another approximation to define several drivers for the non-functional requirements, and several of the drivers are related to function points. And they make the estimation of the measurement for a release, and they separate the effort needed for the functional requirements and for the non-functional requirements. But they are not using the story points, because the story points is only a way to manage the requirements you go inside your sprint or not, for the complexity or the size, okay? I hope I asked your question, Thomas.
Otherwise, it's just, yeah.
Could I ask a follow-up question on that? Many times in agile projects, we use story points because we don't know exactly what we want to do. We don't have many details. While if we're going to perform a function point analysis, we need to dig into details and we need to know more about our product. How do we handle this case in agile context?
Okay, that is a very interesting point, because we found two different approximations to agile, okay? The first one is, like you said, is, digamos, the real agile, that you doesn't know the requirements and you need to wait until the definition. But for us, the most important thing is to define the release and not to the sprint. And in that situation, you can make a measurement after the release, because you know the function points. So sorry, the function point, no, you know the requirements, and you know now the possibility to measure the requirements. Here, you can use the function point not to estimate, but to check that the productivity that the team is giving you is good, and it continue to increase. But in our experience, the real scenario is that the companies works in a hybrid scenario. What does it mean? They already know the user stories before to start the release and before to start the sprint, and they could make the estimation before. In that kind of the scenario, they can use the function points, because when you have the definition of the requirement, you can make an estimation. And let me another thing. You don't need a lot of things to make an estimation, because maybe the user story is a conversation between the customer and the developer, but maybe the conversation is, I need a crew in order to manage employees. I can make an estimation with that in function point. Maybe in another methodology, no, but in function points, yes. And maybe after the release, I can adjust a little bit the things that is not clear at the beginning, but we can use. And that is the two ways that we are using at the moment in some customers.